right, Karen. The ever popular buyers changed their mind.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. That happens quite a lot.
Yes. Especially in this market, I feel like, because buyers have to make a decision so fast. So let's break down some of the reasons that buyers are changing their mind.
Well, first off, you just got a good point about so quickly. So in this market that's very, very aggressive and moving so quickly, and we're seeing these prices just escalate before you can blink an eye, you get to see the property. You get minutes kind of to really look through it, especially on an open house or something like that. Right. And then you're asked to, like, are we going to move forward? Is this the house of our dreams? Is this the one? And I have to agree, that's a little quick. But in an aggressive market like this, you do need to look. You do need to make a decision if you're going to put an offer in and move forward. So time is a big one. It's the number one to me. Maybe not enough time.
During COVID specifically, when you only had 15 minutes in a property to decide, and sometimes 2-3 story high, there's an acre of land. How can you get all that in 15 minutes? And then to decide, is this the one I'm going to spend $1 million on? It's just so quick, and sometimes you think it will work, and then you come back into it, and you say, "Oh, what was I thinking? This doesn't work for us at all."
And that's the second. You make a valid point, because the second time you see it, usually now you've got an accepted offer,
right?
And now we're seeing the house for the second time, going, "I didn't know it had that. Oh my goodness, that is lime green."
Yeah,
you're right. The second time, so they take it all in at a little different stride. And you know what? Sometimes we find they're not so in love with that property, so they might feel they have made a very quick decision. And we are seeing that, people feeling that they're making quick decisions. I didn't have enough time. This market is not allowing you enough time right now. We know that.
Yeah. Well, and we also have those buyers that just have an indecision problem. They just can't make a decision. So you get them as far as, okay, let's write the offer, and then it's, I don't know if I want to move forward. I don't know if this is the house. I don't know. Everything from there on is I don't know.
Every emotional issue they've ever had is going to well up at that moment, and then we have to put our psychiatrist hats on and go, calm down. Let's just look at this. We're just purchasing the house. Let's look at the house and take it down and look at what issues you really have with that. But it's an emotional time. And so much other stuff comes up. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see couples fight, just put them under the stress of buying a home.
Sometimes you wish you weren't there, but that's very true. It's so emotional, and it just brings up everything. And you know what? To get on the same page, to have just a little while to make a decision, and you both need to be on that same page, that's a stretch. That's tough. And people are feeling pressured. I don't have enough time. Right. I'm rethinking this. We hear a lot of that.
Well, and I see a lot of people, they get the accepted offer, and then they want to see a showing before they put their money into escrow, before they put that earnest money in. They want to make sure that this is really the one. I had an escrow go south because they were getting a gift amount from the parents, and so even though this couple, they really wanted to live there, their son had a best friend across the street, and then the parents said, well, this wasn't our favorite property. And so even though the buyers particularly were gung-ho, the parents
and totally undermined
the whole thing.
Absolutely, and there's some clout there, I guess, if you are giving gift money, you have some sort of say. So that's very true. That can totally undermine decisions that were made, and then you have to unwind and scramble. Now you have to find something else, and now we want to bring the parents or whoever that person is.
So many cooks involved in the kitchen. Sometimes there's 4 or 5 names on that purchase. Then you're thinking, gosh, all of these people have to be on board with this one property.
It's hard enough with a couple, with 2 people. So yes, I definitely know how that feels. But there's so many things that can unhinge those types of situations. We've seen that actually quite a bit recently.
Yeah, I mean, another one that I had, the buyer panicked so hard and so fast, he called escrow directly instead of calling his own agent. Help, please, I want to get out. And the escrow was like, I think you need to maybe fill some paperwork out. You should touch base with your agent. And so I got a call from escrow before I got a call from the other agent saying, I think the buyer's out.
Yeah, and you can't do that discreetly and quietly. I mean, if you're going to blow apart an escrow, if you're going to blow apart a sale, everybody needs to know. Plus, everybody needs to sign. You know,
Right.
you think you've just changed your mind. You've involved the buyers, the sellers, escrow. There's a lot. So it's not just as simple as going, changed my mind.
Right.
There's a lot to it, you know. But sometimes just the property isn't right, too. Have you had that situation where, you know, you think you're making the right decision, but maybe they've compromised in a place that just they can't compromise.
Right. I've seen people too, they come and see it at a different time of day. And the lighting is wrong, or the neighbors are all getting home at this time and there's a lot of noisy cars, or there's too many kids, or there's not enough kids, and you know, there's so many different lifestyle needs for people, and sometimes the neighborhood just doesn't work for that.
True. And that's very true, because if you want peace and quiet and you are deciding on a house that's just you think the right price and has all the right, you know, layout for you, but it's right next to a park, that's not going to work.
Right.
You think it is, but it's not going to. In fact, I recently had a client that did purchase that thought she wanted this big, spacious house on this very grand piece of property, and it's absolutely stunning. The sunsets are incredible. It's like a moving artwork. It's simply beautiful. But we found out it isn't the right house for her because the upkeep was just too much. It was just too much property, too much house. And you know what? So we've turned around a year later and made another decision to put it on the market. You know, it's not going to be a bad thing for her because her property's already appreciated. But you know what? Sometimes we can decide on the wrong house. You know, we can settle. We can settle for a 2-car garage when we really, really needed a 3. Or maybe we needed a family room and a living room, and we opted for just 1 grand room. You know, there are considerations, and sometimes people decide it's just not the right property, but I was willing to accept it, but now I'm not.
Right. Well, and then sometimes that's what you have to do. I mean, particularly with people who are thinking, I'm going to buy my first house and it's going to be my forever home.
Right.
It's not likely to be the case,
That's
especially
so true.
here in Southern California. You need to get in and start building equity and then move forward into a house that could maybe facilitate your needs. You know, maybe if you're just a young couple, and you just want that starter home, maybe it's not going to look the same as once you start having kids, or once
So
you start
true.
getting, or you've built equity in your house and now you need something smaller. You don't want that 2-story. You want to move. And sometimes you just have to make a decision. And even if it's the wrong one, you just make another decision.
Make another decision. You know, houses have life cycles. They do. So you mentioned being a young couple starting out. You know, that's probably a condo, very small condo, and then maybe life changes and family kind of grows, and that condo doesn't fit. And then we need to move up to a home. And that's where the big 2 stories and the yards and the, you know, bigger properties work. But then there's another stage of life, too, when those kids are gone and it's, you know, they're empty nesters. And they want to, like, move back down.
Yeah.
So a house has definitely a life cycle. It's so interesting to see. There's just not that one forever house for everybody.
No, I don't think so. And people, you know, when they have a child at home, they're growing up in it, but they think about that. That's only maybe 10, 15, 20 years tops.
It's not that long. You think it's going to be.
Right.
But it really isn't. And then it makes way for that property to move into other families or other situations that have that need. You know, it's interesting. We see the cycle all the time.
Well, it'll be interesting. You know, sometimes a young family will move into a neighborhood. It's all retirees. And then all of a sudden, one by one, all the houses start turning over. And sure enough, now there's 20 kids on the block.
Absolutely. I've seen that in my own neighborhood. So that's very true. So, you know, buyers, what they think they want, they sometimes don't always buy either. You know, they give you the laundry
If
list
I
of
had
what
a nickel.
and you're like, this is nothing like what we discussed. This is nowhere even near the area, let alone the property. So you have to always be ready for that. And we do. We like to listen because we need to get those real key points, but it's never what it is. It never really is what they think
it's so fun. They think, okay, I can't accept anything without a 3-car garage. And then they end up with a place that only has a carport.
And a pool. Right. You're like, a pool wasn't even on the list.
Right, exactly. But I think, too, I mean, with inventory at all-time lows, people have to be flexible.
You have to be flexible in this market,
Yeah.
but markets will change. But right now, if you're a buyer in this market, you're right. We can look at the inventory that's available and make the best decision as to what's going to fit my lifestyle, what fits my desire, my need right now. And really, sometimes that compromise really has to happen, and it's a little painful. But if you're in this market right now, then that's why you need professionals, professional realtors like you and I to help guide you through that, because you can't just write that laundry list of all the wants and needs and think that house is just
you're
sitting
going to
there.
get it. No, no,
It's
definitely
really happened
not.
like that.
No, it's never happened like that.
I've come close. If it's 85% right, then you need to jump on that house right now.
Right,
85
exactly.
is close enough.
It's very close. I mean, buyers change their minds for all different kinds of reasons, but they really need an experienced realtor with them to help them through the process, because a lot of times they've never bought a house, or they've only bought one other one. I mean, there's rarely people that have purchased multiple properties and really know what they're looking for, how to buy a house. You really need someone to help guide you, shepherd you through the process, and help you to understand the potential of a property.
Well, that's very true. And then you've got the other side where you may have had somebody for 20 years. So they're still not that experienced. 20 years ago when you purchased a house was very different than it is right now. And you know what? We're seeing that with our current escrow that, very educated, smart people, but they haven't sold a house in so long or bought a house that this is a totally new experience.
It is.
And they need us every step of the way to keep the pace, which is very fast paced, and to keep things moving and decisions happening.
I don't know if you've seen that one Instagram reel that was making the rounds where it was like, okay, hold my hand, we're going to go into the buyer's market. And then all of a sudden it's just like,
I can't hold on tight.
It's like, hold on tight.
That's how every day feels.
Don't let go.
That's every day right now. So yes, that's a lot going on. And I think, what the good part is you need to rely on somebody. You have to have somebody because, I don't think most buyers have the stomach for this. They just don't know. And right now it's too aggressive of a market to get in without thinking, I need some guidance. I need some help.
Right.
I need solid people that can help me make solid decisions. So.
And sometimes you just have to have someone asking the right questions. Is this house not right for you because of the way it is currently? Or could you add this? What would it cost? Maybe you want to have an estimate for changing the layout of a bathroom. If it's really the bathroom that's the problem, can we change the bathroom to fit your needs?
Right. And are those costs so minimal that it isn't really an issue? Absolutely right. It's absolutely correct. We just have to really dive in. And I think that's what we're good at doing. But sometimes buyers just don't really realize what they want and what they need to know. So we do. We have to be part detective.
Right.
We have to kind of figure it out and go, well, we need to know these things because they're very important to you. You just don't realize it right now.
Yep. But such is life. Sometimes buyers just change their mind, and we do the best that we can.
Sometimes they just get panicked.
Yeah.
And you know what? And then therefore, again, we go in, calm, and make sure that we aren't making a bad decision and walking away from something that you will regret.
Right.
I'm fine with a decision as long as it's been well thought out and there's really a specific reason you don't want a property. But sometimes it's just calming the buyer's nerves, Do
you ever wish a buyer would change their mind? I'm trying to think back if I've ever had that issue.
I did years ago where I had a buyer and it was her first place and she just had so many meltdowns. I actually told her, maybe you shouldn't buy. Maybe you really shouldn't own a home, because she went into meltdown mode when she saw a little tear in the screen. And I went, if this is the way you handle a small, insignificant problem, what's it like when we really have a big problem and we need to have decisions?
Problem. It's
and now
your
it's yours.
ownership. Yeah.
Your ownership. You're paying to fix and repair. We need to make sure you're of a mindset that makes sense. It was the only time I ever really counseled her. Maybe no. But you know what? She went ahead and she bought. And I guess she bucked up and got a good backbone because she handled ownership. And it probably was the best thing she ever did, because prices then were hundreds of $1,000s less for a condo. So she's made her money at least 3 times over. Good decision. But sometimes maybe you aren't the right person to be a homeowner. And we need to discover
this property
that.
isn't the one for you.
And sometimes we just need to hear that and know that and walk through the process, because we need to validate that and have them make sure they completely understand they've looked at every possible aspect of home ownership so that they can feel comfortable, or as comfortable as they possibly can.
Right.
And then we know we've done a really good job to make sure there's no surprises.